you on a very hot and humid day. The Miami Dolphins with a record of 1-1, getting set to go against the Atlanta Falcons, also at 1 up and 1 down. The Atlanta Falcons have won the toss. They have elected to receive. And you can hear this capacity crowd urging on the man they call Super Nat, number 16, 5'4" Reggie Smith, as he awaits the boot from Uwe van Strammen of Miami. There's Smith, a rookie out of North Carolina Central, who has been a sensation in the early going. And we are underway. Out to the 25, 30, and down goes Smith to the 33-yard line. Reggie Smith at 5'4", 168 pounds, stopped by number 47, Glenn Blackwood of the Miami Dolphins. As you look at the Atlanta Falcons backfield, Steve Bartkowski, as we mentioned on the pregame, coming off a 3-touchdown performance. His receivers, Junior Miller, 8 catches, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns last week. He is making his first NFL start here today. That is Francis feeling right. And this is Lynn Kane, stopped by the nose tackle, Bob Baumauer. The offensive line for the Falcons, headed by the veteran out of Kentucky, 12-year man Jeff Van Note, the co-captain of Atlanta. It is a very young offensive line built around high draft picks. Mike Ken, a number 1. Warren Bryant, a number 1. R.C. Thielman, a number 2 draft pick. Pickup of 1 by Kane, making for a 2nd and 9 at the 34. William Andrews, who had 124 yards last week against New England. He's averaging 6 yards per carry, second best in the NFC behind Billy Sims of Detroit. In the 3-4 for the Miami Dolphins, the veteran Vern Den Herter, Bob Bauer, and Doug Betters. A.J. Dewey getting a start on the outside. Larry Gordon on the inside. That a last-minute shuffle by Don Shula. It is a 3rd and 8. And Bartkowski to throw for the first time. He goes sideline, and he's got the first down. Alfred Jackson, second-year man out of Texas.
He was out of bounds on that one, Marv.
Check that. He did step out of bounds. And so a punting situation. There's Alfred Jackson coming off to the sideline as John James checks in. He is averaging 42.9, leads the NFC in net yardage punting. Tony Nathan is back deep for Miami, back at his 24-yard line. Good hang time by James, and the fair catch called for and fumbled, but recovered by Nathan of the Dolphins. So Miami will go to the offense for the first time this afternoon, and they will start 1st and 10 at their 30-yard line. Dave? Don Strock, Steve Howell, Delvin Williams open up for Don Shula's Miami Dolphins. And some impressive wide receivers. Dario Harris, Nat Moore, the tight end is Bruce Hardy.
Tony Nathan on that last one, Don. Marv really had a tough time as that pressure got right to him.
1st and 10 for Miami at their 30-yard line. Don Strock getting the starting assignment. This is Steve Howell. Bumped out hard.
Don Strock immediately dumped off to his back. Got that pressure up the middle and just dumped off to his back, trying to get 4 or 5 yards.
Atlanta Falcons also out of the 3-4. Yates, Don Smith, the nose tackle, who will shuffle with Mike Zealy right throughout, and the right defensive end, Jeff Merrill. And the linebackers, including rookie Al Richardson out of Georgia Tech, Buddy Curry, a rookie who calls defensive signals out of North Carolina. And there are the deep men. Kenny Johnson, another rookie out of Mississippi State, had an outstanding day last week. 2nd and 9, and Strock throws again, and Complete. Bruce Hardy, the tight end.
Looks like it's going to be a 3rd and 1, Marv. Atlanta's really just getting used to this 34 defense. It's a new concept this year that they've come into, and they seem to be playing very well.
And now the Dolphins will go double tight end. Ronnie Lee, number 86, joining Bruce Hardy. And it will be a 3rd and 1 for Miami at their 39-yard line.
In this situation, they go down to a 4-man line, bringing another defensive lineman to get more strength up on that defensive line.
The running backs, Delvin Williams, Steve Howell, and this is Williams, and he has the first down. Don Smith, the nose tackle, a second-year pro out of the University of Miami, making the stop on Williams.
I'd much rather give it to my halfback in that situation because they had a little bit better in the yard, and you can follow that fullback up into the line.
It is a first down for Miami at their 42-yard line. Opening minutes of play from Atlanta, Georgia. Only the 3rd time these two teams have faced each other, and Miami won the previous 2. And Strock to throw on first down. Dumps it off. Delvin Williams, 45, out to midfield.
That might be a tendency of Strock today to dump off to his backs. He's got great runners in Delvin Williams, who once he gets in the open, hard to bring down one-on-one.
Al Richardson, the outside linebacker, ran him out.
Here's where he dumps back, right? Just a little short pass to Delvin Williams over the middle. You can see his great acceleration there as he leaves 2 Atlanta Falcons and gets up in here and almost gets the first down.
It is a 9-yard advance, 2nd and 1 for the Dolphins at midfield.
This is a classic situation, Marv. What do? Do you go for the run, make first down, or go for the bomb?
The fullback Howell picks it up. Steve Howell, who's averaged 5 yards per carry last week against Cincinnati, 11 carries, 47 yards, a 4th-round draft pick out of Baylor 2 years ago, stopped by the rookie linebacker Buddy Curry. And so Miami mixing up its plays well with a first down at the Atlanta 47-yard line. Duriel Harris out to the left, and Nat Moore goes slot left. This is Moore coming across. And Strock again to throw. He's got Williams out at the 40.
Here's Marv where the infield comes into a major factor. Yeah, as you can tell, we had a lot of rain yesterday in the field. The infield plays from the 20 to 20 is a major part.
Buddy Curry, number 50, making the stop on Delvin Williams.
Yes, he's a rookie linebacker out of North Carolina who's calling defensive signals, and that's a real rarity in the NFL because usually that responsibility is given to a more mature player with more playing time.
It is a 3rd and 2 at the 40. The call for Williams. 2-yard advance.
Well,
Don Smith, the nose tackle, in on the stop.
Here's another isolation on Buddy Curry, and he really got rolled out of here. You can see him getting driven back, but he was actually coming to the hole. In the 34 defense, he's the offside linebacker trying to fill to the hole. So that really wasn't his point of attack. But he had a great preseason and really high on him here in Atlanta.
Dave, correction on the down. It is now 3rd and 1 for Miami, and the Atlanta crowd urging their Falcon defense on as the Dolphins go double tight end. Williams trying the right side, looking for the first down.
Again, they went to Delvin Williams because they had success on it last time, following the fullback up through there. It was the exact same play they used on short yardage.
Edgar Fields, right defensive end, making the stop on Delvin Williams.
Just saw Fulton Kuykendall leave the field with an injured shoulder. I don't know what his situation is and when he'll be back.
Saw the indication. inches away.
I bet he goes for it, Marv.
Yes, I would. I would think so. It is a 4th in inches. The officials today, the referee is Bob McElwee, the umpire Al Conway, headlinesman Dave Hawk, the line judge John Everett, the back judge Ray Douglas, side judge Bob Rice, and the field judge Ed Merrifield.
It's a big psychological point in the game whether Miami Dolphins can go for that first down.
4th and inches as they line up tight. Some movement in the line. Penalty marker down as Howell did pick it up.
It was an offsides. Undoubtedly, Strock went to a long count, a count that was different from the count that they've been using. Another hut or another number in there, and it drew the Atlanta Falcons offside.
There you see the movement on the right side of that Atlanta line.
You could see Strock on that call emphasizing that extra hut, which drew that man offsides. That's a tough position to be in.
Number 65, the nose tackle, Don Smith.
Defense, first down.
And it's a first down for the Dolphins at the Atlanta 32-yard line. Don Strock getting the starting assignment. Came on for Bob Greasy last week in the game against Cincinnati. It was announced last Tuesday that Strock would take over. That's Moore peeling off. And Delvin Williams looking for his blocker, could not find Howell, able to turn the corner and pick up yardage on the play. It appeared they had him strapped back behind the line. So Dave, a nice move.
That was excellent penetration. The corner came up and got great penetration. Forced Del Williams. He couldn't make his cut up field behind his blockers. Had to go wide, and by then the pursuit had caught up with him.
And he seemed to get involved with a couple of the Atlanta Falcons defensive players. Tom Pridemore, the free safety, made the stop.
I think Kenny Johnson really made the play on that. He forced him, Delvin Williams to go wide as he came up on his support.
It's a 2nd and 8 at the 29 of Atlanta. And Strock off the short set's got more and more. Inside the 15-yard line, Tom Pridemore, Roland Lawrence combined to make the stop.
Man on man, I think that's one of the hardest pass patterns to carry. That quick inside move to the post by that wide receiver. Great speed by Nat Moore. Made a tremendous catch. There's just hardly any way to cover that man on man.
They have those surprising San Francisco 49ers who are 2-0 out in front of the New York Jets at Shea in New York, 7-0. Steve DeBerg to Charlie Young, 16-yard pass play. First down at the 12-yard line. The Dolphins on the move. The running backs are Williams and Howell. This is Howell. And it's a loss on the play. Back at the 15, Joe Williams. Second-year man out of Wisconsin La Crosse.
Again, that was Buddy Curry, Marv. Shot through the gap on that defense. He has a choice whether to go around in the 34 defense, meaning the inside linebacker, whether to go around the back of the outside of the end, or whether to shoot up through. The guard pulled his shot up through and made a great play.
It is a 2nd and 12 back at the 14. Don Strock thus far is 5 for 5 for 42 yards and has mixed his plays up very effectively. Moore is right and Harris to the left. Penalty marker down. Strock has it deflected away. Bruce Harney, the intended receiver, covered by Tony Dakin.
Again, I believe it was Atlanta was offsides that time, unless they were drawn off. Seems to be talking to Miami, so it would lead you to believe that it's going to be against the Atlanta Falcons.
Number 36 on the offense. Offsides on the defense. Offset.
Offsetting penalties. Steve Howell called for illegal motion at the snap. So the Dolphins also hit with a penalty. You saw the referee, Bob McElwee. The rest of the crew, Al Conway, Dave Hawk, John Everett, Ray Douglas, Bob Rice, Ed Merrifield. 2nd and 12 for Miami at the 14-yard line. 4 minutes gone by in this first quarter. This is Delvin Williams. To the 11, a short pickup. Jeff Yates, left defensive end. in that front three, along with Don Smith and Jeff Farrow, making the stop on Williams.
It's almost a sure passing situation. 3rd down, 10 yards to go. They're in 4-down territory, scoring position. So I imagine they don't want to give it up. They want to make a sure pass. The worst they can get out of this should be is a field goal.
It is now a 3rd and 9 on the 11, and the Dolphins send on Tony Nathan and Nick Giaquinto in the backfield. They come on in passing situations. And here is Strock to throw. Throws end zone, but overthrows Matt Moore. Frank Reed, the strong safety, number 28, covering Moore on the play. And so a field goal attempt upcoming now for Uwe von Schamann, who last week against Cincinnati missed from 46 and from 39 yards out, but he hit from 39 to win the game. He is 1 for 3 on the season. Last year as a rookie, 21 for 29. Don Strock will hold, and it will be a 28-yard attempt. And it is good. So Uwe von Schamann has provided the Dolphins with a 3-0 lead here in the first quarter in Atlanta, Georgia.
That was a great psychological advantage for the Miami Dolphins as they drove 70 yards to get a score.
And we'll see what the super nat Reggie Smith can do right here with the kickoff. To the 10, to the 20, to the 30. Took a hard hit, but able to keep going. So 5'4", Reggie Smith heading the crowd up with a beautiful return, and the Falcons, who are trailing 3-0 off the 28-yard field goal by von Schamann, now will go back to the offense. A 32-yard kickoff return by Smith. It's got to be a tough guy to find.
You know, it's a great inspiration. A player 5'4", 168 pounds comes in here and plays that well. He's a great inspiration. It proves it's not what you weigh, it's how you play.
He says he's 5'4". He may not be that tall. It's a first down at the 34-yard line for Atlanta. The running backs, Lynn Kane, William Andrews. The quarterback is Steve Bartkowski. Jenkins and Francis, the wide receivers. Miller, the tight end, mix up on the snap. And Bob Baumhauer able to cover up on Bartkowski, and they'll want to talk that one over again, although he did advance it out near the 35-yard line.
You see Junior Miller just before this play took off and ran in a motion and didn't realize what he was doing. I think there was total confusion on that, whether they got a mix-up in the huddle or whether they came up and tried to audible on the line.
6:45 left first quarter. Dolphins 3 and the Falcons nothing. 2nd and 9 for Atlanta at their 35-yard line. Again a mix-up and a fumble. It is recovered by Miami. The nose tackle, number 73, Bob Baumhauer, with the second consecutive confusing situation, able to cover up on the fumble. When we return following this timeout, the Dolphins will take over. Between Van Note and Bartkowski.
Well, Jeff Van Note's a 12-year center, and he certainly is a great one. I think there was just a mix-up there on what the play was. It was obviously handoff. Bartkowski came out of the center a little bit early and didn't get his hands on the ball. Another great psychological advantage for the Miami Dolphins in this situation.
And penalty markers down. They're having difficulty getting that snap going.
Well, nothing starts before the snap, Marv. So the center can never be offside.
A procedure penalty. False start on Miami.
Well, Miami's working with a new quarterback also, Marv. They've been with Bob Greasy, you know, the age-old quarterback that started back when I did, and he's a great leader of this team, and they're trying to make the adjustment to go with Don Strock. So obviously there was a little communication problem there.
Dave, as a defensive tackle, how do you react to a quarterback change? This situation, the veteran replaced by Strock, a guy who has been around, of course. He's been the backup for 7 years. We'll get back to that in a moment. It's a 1st and 15, and this is Delvin Williams. Ran into his own blocker. Another penalty marker thrown down as Williams is hauled down at the 32. Combination of the right cornerback, Kenny Johnson, and the rookie inside linebacker, Buddy Curry.
That penalty flag was thrown by a back judge who's watching the offensive line as they pull down the line. He obviously called one of the Miami Dolphins for holding in that situation. He's got a great perspective as he stands back there and watches. As far as making the adjustment to a new quarterback, Marv, as a defensive player watching it, it's awful hard because you've never really seen that much of him on film. You do an awful lot of preparation for the game as you prepare through the week. But really, when a new quarterback comes in, you don't know what to expect.
Strunk is off to a good start. He's 5 for 6, 42 yards. Let's listen here.
Holding offense, number 84, first down.
The tight end, Bruce Hardy of the Dolphins, is called for the hold. Minnesota Vikings lead the Chicago Bears now 14-0. We told you about Kramer to Rashad, 76-yard touchdown pass play. An interception of a Mike Phipps pass, 41-yard return by Tom Hannon. And the Vikings lead it 14-0. First and 25 for the Dolphins. Back at midfield. And Strunk to throw the home run ball. Overthrows. Good coverage by the right cornerback, Kenny Johnson, on Duriel Harris. That was a foot race on a fly pattern.
He had excellent protection back there. They only rushed 3 men. The Atlanta Falcons only came with just their 34 front. So he had excellent protection. He had five linemen on those 3 and got time to throw that bomb.
And the right quarterback, Kenny Johnson, is a guy who has seen both ends of the National Football League. He opened up against Ahmad Rashad and really had difficulty as Rashad burned him for 11 catches. But last week, Johnson got the game ball for his fine play against Stanley Morgan of the New England Patriots. Second and 25 for Miami. They lead it 3-0 for first quarter. From midfield, Strunk with time, and he's got the tight end, Hardy, wrestled out at the 43-yard line. Gang tackle, Dewey McClain in on the hit.
As we look at Bruce Hardy here, you can tell he's a great pass catcher. He had a great, came off the line. There's Strock setting back off the line. He sits about 7 yards deep. Sees his tight end coming across the field the last second. Throws to him. He was really excellently covered. You can see the man right on him, and he took a heck of a shot and still was staying on his feet.
Ball spotted at the 42. It's 3rd and 18 for Miami. 5.5 left first quarter. Dolphins lead 3-0. Strunk in big trouble. Able to get away with it, and it is incomplete. Strunk able to dodge 63 Mike Seeley, then try to hit Jimmy Cephalo. And the hand is for the Atlanta defensive effort as the Miami Dolphins are stopped.
Strock comes out of the pocket here. He gets excellent pressure from his left side. He steps up in the pocket and steps around 63 and comes out. Now, this is the hardest time for a defensive back because the offensive receivers are just going everywhere to get open. It's really tough for him to cover in that situation.
And here is George Roberts. Left-footed kicker, can be very tricky to field his punts. Reggie Smith is back. Reggie is second in the NFC in punt returns behind another little guy, Alvin Garrett of the New York Giants. Reggie averaging 15 per punt return, and Roberts looking to angle it and succeed. No, he gets it too far. Carries to the end zone, just looking to keep it away from the super net. Reggie Smith, 42-yard punt. Miami Dolphins leading the Atlanta Falcons by the score 3-0. We'll be back in a moment. Of course, last week, the Bengals provided the Dolphins with all they wanted. Cincinnati at 0-2, but out in front of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Atlanta taking over 1st and 10 at the 20 following the 42-yard punt by George Roberts of Miami. William Andrews with a penalty marker down.
I think what Atlanta is going to do in this situation, Marv, is they're going to go back to their basics. They've made 3 or 4 mistakes on offense, 2 broken plays back-to-back. I think they're just going to go back to what's really been successful for them, and that's their fullback running up there, William Andrews and Lynn Kane. William Andrews averaging 6.1 yards per carry. They're certainly going to go back to him.
Well, the Falcons...
75 defense, first down.
Bob Baumhauer, the nose. Check that. Doug Betters, the defensive end for Miami, called for the face mask. The Falcons with only 3 yards total offense Thus far, we have 5 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Miami leading 3-0 on a 28-yard field goal by Uwe von Schaman. Out of the eye, Andrews and Kane. Second back coming through, Lynn Kane. And the Falcons continue to have trouble on the ground. The nose tackle, Baumhauer, making the stop. Kane in his second year out of Southern California, a guy who is batted back from a severe knee injury. Not too many folks thought he would be playing this season. Picked up 2 on the play. It's a second and 8 at the 28. Steve Bartkowski last Sunday, 19 for 30, 244 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the surprise against the Patriots. And Bartkowski under the pressure down.
Vern Deadherter really got a great rush on that move. The Atlanta Falcons have only allowed 2 sacks this season so far, so that's only their 3rd sack in 3 games. Whereas the Miami offensive line has allowed 7 sacks in their first 2 games. You can see Bartkowski going back. And he just really overpowers him to get to him. Deadherter just really overpowered.
Cincinnati Bengals now lead the Pittsburgh Steelers 10-0. Atlanta 3rd and 16 back at the 20-yard line. Francis left, Jenkins to the right side. And Bartkowski throws left, incomplete, intended for Wallace Francis. Gerald Small, the right cornerback, covering on the play, so the Falcons will immediately go into punt formation, not able to get a thing going. And John James checks in.
An interesting fact there, A.J. Dewey came in at right defensive end that time. Was playing linebacker. He seems to be a defensive lineman of all purposes today.
This is Tony Nathan. Just hit scoop it up. He was undecided as to call fair catch or give it a go. And so Miami will take over near midfield with the Dolphins leading the Falcons by the score of 3-0. Still early, but on NFL 80 today, our man Pete Axtell prognosticated that the Bengals would give the Steelers a tough time, and that has certainly been the case with Cincinnati on top now 10-0. The Dolphins 1st and 10 at their 49-yard line. Marv Albert and Dave Rowe from Atlanta, Georgia. 3:40 left in the first quarter. This is Delvin Williams looking to make the turn, but pushed out of bounds. Short pickup. Frank Reed, strong safety, and Tom Pridemore, the free safety, getting Williams out of bounds. Cincinnati leading Pittsburgh. And the Jets continue to have their difficulties. The 49ers, who are, on the other hand, have been a major surprise, leading 14-0 to Berg. Charlie Young, 16-yard pass play, and Joe Montana, 5-yard run. Minnesota leading Chicago 14-0 in the first quarter. Here in Atlanta on a hot and humid afternoon, the Dolphins with a 3-0 lead on a 28-yard field goal by Von Schaman. And Strock swings it off for Williams to the 45, 40, first down and some more for Delvin Williams, the 7-year man out of Kansas. Tom Pridemore, the free safety, coming up to make the stop.
This is a screen play to Delvin Williams. Strock drops back, and the offensive line allows that rush. All of a sudden dumps it off to Delvin Williams. He gets the guards out in front of him. He's got a great seam as he goes through there and picks up some valuable yardage. One thing that the Atlanta defense has got to do is they've got to make a stand and stop the Miami offense. They haven't done it yet in the first quarter. They drove 70 yards the first time they had the ball and besides the penalties, they haven't stopped them at all. So they've got to come up with a defensive scheme to stop them.
And Miami on the move again. First down of 38, Tony Nathan.
Since they are playing a 34-year defense, new 3-man line, they've got to get more confidence in that. Last week should have really built their confidence as they stopped the great New England Patriot offensive team.
That time the nose tackle in the 3-4, Mike Zealy out of Kent State, making the stop on Nathan at the 35, makes for a 2nd and 7. It's Yates, Zealy, and Merrill up front for Atlanta. Richardson, Curry, Williams, Kuykendall are the linebackers. In intended for Nat Moore. It'll be 3rd and 7 with Roland Lawrence covering on the play, and Strzok is now 7 for 11, 59 yards. He completed his first 5.
I was going to say that's the first time that Atlanta's really gotten pressure on Strzok. He got dumped that time, had to get the pass off before the receiver made the cut. So maybe Atlanta's going to open up now and a little more confidence.
You like the Atlanta 3-4?
I like the 34 defense. I think it gives you a lot of possibilities.
Right now, 3rd and 7 for Don Strzok and the Dolphins. He was looking for Cephalo, and he could not hang on.
I think he slipped in the wet turf there as he made his cut on about the 17-yard line. We've had a lot of rain here, and I'm sure that turf was a little bit slippery. He did have it in his hands. He probably should have had it.
Jimmy Cephalo, 3-year man out of your alma mater, Penn State, just going to show that not only linebackers make it to the NFL out of Penn State.
Every once in a while, someone else comes out. Well, again, we have an exciting player down there catching the ball for us.
All right, and here is George Roberts getting set to punt to Reggie Smith. 2:05 left first quarter, and it's the Dolphins 3 and the Falcons nothing. Smith back at his 10. And you know that Roberts wants to keep it away. So the Atlanta Falcons will take over out of their 20-yard line when we come back after these brief messages. Cleveland, the Kansas City Chiefs out in front. Over the Cleveland Browns, 3-0, 38-yard field goal by Nick Lowry. Early second quarter, right here, Dolphins leading the Falcons 3-0. We're late first quarter, 1st and 10 for Bartkowski at his 20-yard line, and intended for Alfred Jenkins, covered by Don McNeil. You know, the Miami Dolphins have had tremendous success against NFC teams. In fact, they have won 9 of the last 10 meetings against the NFC. And if you have to wonder if it has something to do with the defensive shuffling of Miami's man Bill Arnsparger.
Well, Bill Arnsparger, their defensive coordinator, certainly puts a lot of sets in front of Bartkowski to confuse them. This is something that you can do from the 34 defense. You've got 4 linebackers that can continually jump up there and confuse you. Particularly in that these NFC teams so rarely see the Miami Dolphins. 2nd and 10, and Bartkowski goes deep downfield, nearly intercepted. Junior Miller, the tight end, was double covered. Tim Foley, the strong safety, all over Miller. And Bartkowski is 0 for 4. He had great pressure on that time. He really stayed in the pocket. He got hit late after he got the pass off. But what a run by Junior Miller to get 35, 40 yards downfield and be running with those those defensive backs. So it is a 3rd and 10 at the 20-yard line. We're looking at the Atlanta Falcons depth chart, and you look behind Steve Bartkowski, and there is very little experience in Mike Borowski and Larry Fortner, but Coach Lehman Bennett preferred to go this way. Here's Bartkowski again, and this time a great catch by the rookie Junior Miller. Hey, he's got great promise. He looks like a tremendous athlete, great build. At 6'4", 235, he's certainly out of the Russ Francis move. And that is the first completion by Bartkowski. This the first NFL start by Junior Miller. Here's an update. The Steelers on the board. It's Bradshaw to Jim Smith, 45-yard touchdown pass play. Early second quarter, and Cincinnati now leading at 10-7. A minute 10 left. First quarter here in Atlanta. First down for Bartkowski. Swings it off. This is Kane. Lynn Kane with some nice open field running. Able to pick up the first down. Larry Gordon, outside linebacker, finally got him down. Yeah, on that play there, Bartkowski's trying to stop the rush. He's been dumped 2 or 3 times and pressured a couple times. So I'm sure he wants to stop the rush. But you can see a great move that Kane made here to get away. There he gets away from another one, kept his balance. Got great vision right there and went for a first down. And 2 plays like that back-to-back are really going to help the Atlanta Falcons gain confidence in their offense. Now first down at the Miami 46-yard line, and this crowd is charged up. Only 20 seconds left, first quarter. That's Miller peeling left. And
Bartkowski throwing long. Alfred Jenkins. Stopped by Don McNeil. Jenkins and McNeil in the foot race. It'll be 1st and goal for Atlanta.
You can see how that screenplay set that play up. It gave him a little bit more time. It told the defensive lineman they just can't rush all out. And he got a great time in there to throw that ball and laid it right on the money.
And Alfred Jenkins has now caught at least one pass in 60 consecutive games.
See, there's absolutely no pressure on Bartkowski. Jenkins here really stretched out. He had about a step ahead on his defensive player. Came down inside the 10-yard line, and it looks like they're going for a score.
That is the end of the first quarter. After one here in Atlanta, Georgia. Miami Dolphins 3, Atlanta Falcons nothing. Second quarter getting underway. Miami leading 3-0. 28-yard field goal by Uwe Van Schamen. But the Falcons on the move. Bartkowski succeeding now in the air after having a tough time. Completed a 48-yard pass play to Alfred Jenkins, setting up 1st and goal at the 6-yard line. This is Lynn Kane. Can't turn the corner. A loss on the play. The rookie cornerback, Don McNeil, able to haul him down.
Don McNeil was the one who just got burned for that long pass to Alfred Jenkins. Don McNeil's a rookie out of Alabama, and I'm sure that's quite an indoctrination to the NFL.
It'll be a 2nd and goal at the 6. And the Dolphins in that first quarter holding on to the football for 9 minutes. Atlanta just under 6.
One thing that's really helped the Miami Dolphins is that they're getting great backside pursuit. All their players are getting to the point of attack in a hurry.
Atlanta double tight end with Russ McKeska coming on. Off the play action. That is Lynn Kane. I believe he thought he was over the goal line. Either that or he stumbled. Gerald Small, the right cornerback, covering on the play, but it did not seem that Kane had to go down.
Well, I think actually he was trying to turn up a little bit faster than when he had the ball. It's the old story of not catching the ball first and running in the end zone second. I think he knew he was close to the end zone and wanted to turn up. He was open for the play, and it was an excellent thrown pass. It was right on the money.
It is a 3rd and goal at the 6, as you see the stats on Bartkowski off to the slow start. But got it going late first quarter. And Bartkowski fires. Touchdown! Alfred Jackson.
Again, it was a slant pattern into the post, one of the hardest patterns to cover for a defensive back one-on-one. They caught Miami in a one-on-one defense. They ran Junior Miller in motion, which made him go one-on-one. Made that slant. That's a really tough pattern to carry.
So the Falcons take a 6-3 lead. Alfred Jackson with a 2nd touchdown reception of the season. He's a 2nd-year pro out of the University of Texas. And now the try for the extra point. Here is Tim Mazzetti with John James, the punter, to hold. Mazzetti 6 for 7 in placements this season. And puts it right through. So the Atlanta Falcons, led by Steve Bartkowski, move in front of the Miami Dolphins by the score of 7-3. Action starting with NFL 80 and Brian Gumble. Most of you will see the Oakland Raiders and the Buffalo Bills, and then at 4 p.m. Seattle Seahawks taking on the Washington Redskins, plus other regional games. Check your local listing. Tony Nathan taking that deep kick by Tim Mazzetti, and the Dolphins will go to work at their 20-yard line. As you look at that Atlanta drive, the key play, 48-yard pass play, Bartkowski and Jenkins. And a penalty marker thrown down.
I believe we had offsides on the kickoff, and they're going to bring it on back.
Offside.
Offside call against the Miami Dolphins.
This is a real interesting point right here, because the Atlanta Falcons have just had a great coverage. Now you want to come back and you want to take your time so you don't get all tired, because you've just had a 60-yard sprint. The worst thing they can do is get right back on the ball. You can see them kind of standing around, relaxing a little bit. They've had a long run, had great coverage. And now the pressure is on the Miami Dolphins to answer the call. Atlanta just drove 80 yards to score, and that puts the pressure back on the Miami Dolphins.
Falcons leading it 7-3 in this their home opener, a capacity crowd here at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. Marv Albert along with Dave Rowe, and we welcome Dave to our NBC broadcast team after 13 grueling years in the National Football League as a defensive tackle, including the Super Bowl champion Oakland Raiders of 1977.
I got out just before I gave up talking, Mark.
Yeah. I know teammates of yours would always say, you talk so much, you should be in the broadcast booth.
Well, that's why I'm here.
Tim Mazzetti will kick again. Opening minute, second quarter. This time a line drive, shorter kick, and Nathan out to the 20-yard line. Across the 25, and a penalty marker down. Good coverage by the Falcons. Tony Dakin, backup linebacker, making the stop on Nathan.
This goes against Miami. It's going to put them back in the hole. They're going to be deep inside the 20-yard line, be about the 15-yard line. It's going to put more pressure on Don Strock in this situation.
So the referee, Bob McElwee, marking it back. They spot it at the 13.
Personal foul. Number 15. First down.
Did not catch the number. 59. Steve Scholl, a rookie out of William and Mary, called for the personal foul to put the Dolphins in the hole, 1st and 10 at their 13-yard line. The quarterback is Don Strock. This is Delvin Williams. Across the 15, Buddy Curry, the outstanding rookie inside linebacker out of North Carolina, combining with another rookie, Kenny Johnson, right side cornerback, making the stop on Williams. Pick up a 4. It'll be a 2nd and 6 as you look at Miami coach Don Shula, and you have to wonder, is he thinking about the possibility of Bob Greasy?
That's one of the great coaches in the National Football League, as was evidenced last week with that onside kick that we talked about from the free kick position.
2nd and 6. Off the play action, Strock on the roll and hauled out. Al Richardson, number 56, linebacker on the outside, rookie out of Georgia Tech, breaking down Strock.
I thought for sure there'd be a grounding penalty on there. He was in the hands of the defensive back. I mean, the defensive lineman as he came out here. Really probably should have been a grounding penalty here because Strock is just trying to unload it, trying not to take the deep loss back inside the 10-yard line. But he got away with it.
It is a 3rd and 6 now for Strock. Strock is now 7 for 12 for 59 yards. He started hot, dumping off short patterns, went 5 for his first 5. Having difficulty now, though, and this time he is going long, but no one in sight. Penalty marker down. Nat Moore was bumped back at the 40-yard line, covered by Kenny Johnson.
It could have been offensive interference. As Nat Moore came off, he actually ran right over top of Kenny Johnson. I believe that's what they called it.
Moore arguing the other way, but it is called against the offensive player, wide receiver Nat Moore. And so the Dolphins will be forced to punt.
Pass interference, number 89.
If anything will charge up your Atlanta Falcons offense, this will do it. The defense has come in, held them inside the 20-yard line on 3 downs. Now they're going to get the ball near midfield. 4-down territory where they can drive for another score.
And George Roberts, who's averaged 38 yards per punt for his first 2, is back near his goal line. And the crowd would like to see some action from the little guy, Reggie Smith. There he is out of North Carolina Central. Played the last 2 years semi-pro football in Charlotte, North Carolina.
What a great state to be from.
Now, Dave, why would you say that?
Because I live in North Carolina.
Smith misjudged it. And it rolls down inside the 40-yard line. So the Falcons will take over right there. But right here, a timeout call with Atlanta leading 7-3. When you're sitting down at what, 6,
Certainly
8?
feels a lot better up here, Marv. I enjoy it. I can criticize, and I don't have to face a coach that's upset after we lose or a happy one after we win. So it's nice being up here with you, Marv.
Okay, back down to the field. Alfred Jenkins from Steve Bartkowski, 24-yard reception. And Bartkowski has certainly been able to unleash after the slow start. He was 0 for his first 4. He is now 5 for 10 and 104 yards. The 49ers over the Jets now 21-0. What has happened to that New York Jet offense?
Well, a run by Ted Brown of 55 yards didn't hurt, did it, Marv?
There's Bartkowski again. He's hot. He's got Lynn Kane. Kane out to the 33-yard line. Rusty Chambers, Larry Gordon combined to make the stop.
As we talked earlier, Bartkowski is certainly utilizing his backs an awful lot more. It takes the pressure off him because he used to think he had to pass 15, 20 yards downfield. The pass to a back like Kane in this situation has got great speed, great moves, and look at that strength and drive in his legs. That's just an excellent play by an excellent football player. 2nd and 4 for Atlanta. On the Miami 32, the Falcons 7, and the Dolphins 3. Mix up on the end around, Junior Miller. Not able to do anything with it, and fumbles. Miami bench indicating a recovery, and let's see. He actually fumbled, recovered, and then fumbled again. And it has been recovered by the Dolphins. So Miami will take over when we return with Atlanta up 7-3. 21-0, but it gets worse for the Jets. San Francisco has just come up with an interception, and they are driving once again. Steve DeBerg was removed from the game. He has had a case of laryngitis, and because of all the noise at Shea and the airplane problem, his teammates couldn't hear him, so they brought Joe Montana in. Delvin Williams on the reception at the 40-yard line. Roland Lawrence makes the stop. Check of the scoreboard. Kansas City in front of Cleveland. 6-0 in the second quarter. Minnesota leads Chicago 21-0 in the second. Miami in possession off the fumble by Junior Miller on the reverse that did not work. Fumble recovered by Miami strong safety Jim Fulton. And the Dolphins now 2nd and 4 at their 40-yard line. Don Strunk is the quarterback. The running backs are Steve Howell and Delvin Williams. The tight end Bruce Hardy. The wide receivers Nat Moore, Daryl Harris. And this is Howell off the left side, collects the first down. Kuykendall, the left inside linebacker, 6-year man out of UCLA, combining with Pridemore, the free safety, to make the stop. But it's a first down for Miami at their 46. Steve Howell's averaged over 5 yards a carry.
Niners now lead the Jets 24-0 on a field goal coming off that intercept. Right here, Atlanta 7, Miami 3. And struck with time. Daryl Harris tried to come back for it, saw that it was underthrown with Kenny Johnson all over him, but Harris could not come up with it.
Yeah, he had a poor pass that time. As he went back to set back, I don't think he really came through the ball, or else it came off his hands. You can see the ball wobbling on its flight all the way. The trajectory of the ball is wobbling as you look at it. Yeah, the receiver tried to come back on the infield, and of course, with the rain that we've had here in the last couple of days, it's really hard to do that.
And Harris is a man who thrives on acrobatic catches, but that time could not come up with it. He is a guy guaranteed to make the highlight films most weeks of the season. 2nd and 10. Miami at its 46-yard line, and Strock again throws short, and it's incomplete. Good coverage by Curry and Kuykendall, jarring Steve Howell, the intended receiver. That'll set a 3rd and 10 at the 46. Dave, you look at that offensive line of the Dolphins, and people in Miami, of course, have been critical about the offense, but a host of shuffling. Kuchenberg switched from left tackle to left guard. Ed Newman moved from left guard to right guard. You got Blasco in at right tackle, Green at left tackle, relatively new center, and Mark Dennard.
Exactly so, Mark. Miami's in a transition period, coming from an old team to a young team and trying to switch players.
Here's 3rd and 10 with Strock. And it is intercepted, but who has the football? The interception by Roland Lawrence. He was in a tug of war with Tom Clyde-Moore, but a penalty marker is down. Flag on the play. Roland Lawrence out of Tabor College in Kansas. And the penalty, as you see, against the Atlanta Falcons.
That's a tough situation right there, Marv. The ball definitely was overthrown, but I think they interfered with the Miami Dolphin receiver and got the pass interference play, even though the ball was well overthrown. You can see Strock sets back here. He's got good protection. He comes on out of the circle. He's on the run. Larry Little turns back to pick up anything. He could have run for a little bit. The ball was way overthrown, but see the interference there in the corner of the screen. Kenny Johnson.
There you see the confusion between Lawrence and Clyde-Moore as they came up with the football.
Well, that's quite a thrill for any defensive back. They all want to get those.
Miami first down at the Atlanta 31-yard line. Just under 10 remaining in this first half. And the Dolphins trailing 7-3. That's Harris in motion. And this is Williams. And not able to make the turn. Joe Williams able to cut it off, coming from his outside linebacker position on the right side.
Atlanta's starting to play that 34 defense really well. You saw there are about 8 or 9 jerseys, red jerseys, that are coming up there. And that's the Atlanta pursuit coming from the backside, and they never let Delvin Williams turn the corner. An interesting thing about today is that Atlanta normally wears red jerseys at home, but switched to white because of the heat.
Called home field advantage.
Right.
2nd and 10. Good play by Williams, second-year man, who was raised in Miami, Florida, played high school football at North Miami High. And Strock throws the middle and completes just short of a first down. Tony Nathan making the catch, and Buddy Curry in on the stop.
Miami seems to be running a lot of curl patterns with their backs coming out of the backfield.
Pittsburgh leading Cincinnati off a Bradshaw to Swan TD pass, and the Steelers with a 14-10 lead, down by the score of 10-0. It is a 3rd and 2 at the 23-yard line. Atlanta leads 7-3. Field goal by Van Schamen. Markowski's 6-yard pass play to Alfred Jackson. After the 48-yard pass to Alfred Jenkins set it up. Crowd urging on the Atlanta defense. And delay of game is called. Too much time taken by the Dolphins.
Strock took too much time coming out of the huddle. Evidently, they sent in a play from the sideline, and he didn't get it right away, so he took too much time coming out of the huddle. I thought perhaps he was going to try and draw him off sides as he did before. That really helps Atlanta right now.
Play the game. Offense. 3rd down.
So from a 3rd and 2, they go 3rd and 7 at the 28-yard line. Miami comes in at 1-1, losing in Buffalo 17-7 last Sunday, squeaking out the victory over Cincinnati and trailing right here. 3rd and 7 for Strock. Big run. Jim Laughlin, an 8-year veteran out of Ohio State, leading the attack to get to the quarterback, Don Strock.
The way that penalty changed the situation is unbelievable, Marv. They went from a short yard, 3rd and 1 situation back to 3rd and 6 or 7. Atlanta knew it was a definite passing situation and rushed 6 men in there to sack Don Stroud.
And it was number 51, Jim Laughlin, who will receive credit. Reggie Smith is back at his 15-yard line, awaiting the punt from George Roberts, who has connected for 41, 35, and 45. Roberts will try to angle it out once again from midfield. He's tough, very tough to return against Roberts.
That was almost a fantastic play there. He almost downed it on the 1-yard line.
So a timeout is called, and when we return, Atlanta will take over at its 20-yard line. Atlanta, where the Falcons lead it by the score of 7-3 over Miami. They take over 1st and 10 at their 20-yard line. Lining up in the eye, this is Kane getting the call. Short yardage pickup. Lynn Kane, the second-year man out of Southern Cal, a 4th-round draft pick a year ago. 4th leading rusher in the NFC with just a couple. Right here we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WATU TV 26, Augusta.
A 2nd and 8 at the 22 for Atlanta. And the Falcons with only 6 yards rushing thus far. It has been all Bartkowski in that 7-3 Atlanta lead. And Bartkowski will throw on 2nd down. He swings it off. He's got Andrews. Andrews could not get outside. William Andrews, the Atlanta fullback, is also the Falcons' leading receiver, but that time he was stopped by the outside linebacker, Larry Gordon. It is Detroit over St. Louis, 3-0 on a 25-yard field goal by Ed Murray in the 2nd quarter. And an update on Cleveland, Kansas City, where Merrill Harmon and Carl Eller are providing the play-by-play in Cleveland. The Browns now lead 7-6. Charles White, who has been a disappointing rookie, a 2-yard run to give the Browns the lead. Don Cockcroft kicking the extra point, comes up with career point number 1,000. Sideline pass underthrown, intended for Alfred Jenkins. And so a quickie series for Bartkowski and the Falcons.
Exactly right. Miami's going to get the ball in great field position here. Bartkowski definitely underthrew that ball. Again, it was in the mud. He was unable to come back, but it was just a poorly thrown ball.
And John James will punt with Tony Nathan back in single safety. He's averaging 12 yards per return, which is good for 3rd in the AFC. Back to his 33, and great coverage by the Atlanta Falcons, led by Ray Strong, who is known as the Falcons' chief headhunter, and it was right on Nathan.
That was tremendous. It was a great kick by John James. Also got great height, and the hang time was up there over 4 seconds. It allowed him to come right down, and I don't think the receiver had a chance with it.
All right, Dave, a 46-yard punt by James, and Miami will take over. A reminder, next Saturday on NBC Sports, it's Major League Baseball, and those races are really heating up. Montreal Expos and the Philadelphia Phillies to be seen here, or the Cincinnati Reds against the Astros of Houston, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and we suggest you check your local listing for the game and time in your area. First down play at the 33-yard line. Strock going sideline, but overthrows intended for Jimmy Cephalo, the wide receiver out of Penn State, covered by Roland Lawrence. Left side cornerback, there he is, number 22.
You know, there's quite a difference also, Marv, when you play on a baseball field as compared to playing on a full football field due to the crown in the center of the field. So the out patterns on a baseball field are, a lot of times are overthrown because they don't have that crown of the field.
Receivers really have to come out here early and test the geography and get an idea of the configuration of this field.
Right, Miami came in yesterday and practiced on it.
2nd and 10. For Miami at their 33-yard line. They are trailing the Falcons 7-3. The swing for Nathan goes nowhere. Oh, he gets away. Tony Nathan with a tremendous second effort. The Falcons thought they had him.
Here's Buddy Curry, we've talked a lot about, from North Carolina, number 50. Really comes up on the quick play here, but gets knocked out. He really wasn't under balance when he came up there to make the play, but right back into the play as Nathan came out of that pileup.
Atlanta Falcons with some outstanding young defensive players. In fact, this is a very young team. 20 members of the Falcons have 2 years or less experience in the National Football League, and of the 28 are in the starting lineup. 3rd and 8 for Strock. Penalty markers thrown down, and he overthrows Nat Moore. Frank Reed providing cover, but flag is down.
Yeah, Strock certainly has been off on the out patterns. Strock, as we said, was off in the out patterns. He's overthrown his wide receivers. I don't know really whether it's because we're playing on a baseball field or just because he's a new quarterback. But that time, also, he saw the early flag, knew it was an offside penalty. He should have just taken a free shot on it. You can see the out pattern right here is way over his head, and actually he was really open, too.
74 defense.
Number 74, Wilson from Wena, left defensive end of the Atlanta Falcons. Called for the offside, so it's a 3rd and 3 on the 40. Dave, you mentioned Strock is a new quarterback, but this is a guy who has had experience. He played quite a bit last week. Also in the opening game, he has been a backup for 7 years, but he has been in and out of the lineup.
Well, that being steadily in the lineup gives you an awful lot of confidence, and that's what maybe he lacks a little bit of, because he has been a backup quarterback for 6 or 7 years.
All right, here is Strock going deep downfield, but overthrows by a considerable margin. The intended receiver, Nat Moore, Roland Lawrence, covering on the play, and so the Dolphins will give up the football with just under 5 minutes left in this first half. And Atlanta leading by the score of 7-3 as Don Strock goes over to the sideline.
Here we have Reggie Smith back again. I like him. I'll tell you, he looks like an inspiration to me. He's out there, he's clapping his hand. He's really excited about playing in the NFL. I like to see players like that.
And this is George Roberts, who has been able to keep it away from Super Nat, 5'4" Reggie Smith thus far. Smith had a couple of good returns on kickoffs. Now, much hang time by Roberts. And here is Smith out to the 20. And this time Miami had him well in hand.
Excellent coverage by the Miami team.
45-yard punt by Roberts, who has been superb. Nick Giaquinto, backup running back, in on the stop of Smith. Detroit leading St. Louis by the score of 10-0 now as Gary Danielson hit Horace King, 13-yard pass play. The Lions looking to go 3-0. And the Buffalo Bills also looking to make it 3-0, lead the 0-2 New Orleans Saints 7-0. Joe Ferguson and Frank Lewis, 12-yard pass play. Here is Bartkowski under wraps, gets it away. Andrews out across the 25-yard line. Kim O'Camper, outside linebacker on the left, along with A.J. Dewey, combining to make the stop. Good pursuit by Dewey, who thought he had Bartkowski.
Again, we see Bartkowski setting up around 7 yards deep. He has a good rush by Dewey right there, but he keeps his cool, which is a good mark of a good maturing quarterback. Dumps to his backs, which we said he's been utilizing, and that's really a sign of maturity in a quarterback.
8-yard pickup, 2nd and 2 for Atlanta. Bartkowski now 8 for 14, 118 yards. This is Andrews again, looking for running room, and picks it up. William Andrews able to battle for the first down. Doug Betters, the right defensive end, and strong safety Tim Foley combining to make the stop on Andrews, who came in averaging better than 6 yards per carry, but the Atlanta rushing game has not been able to get going thus far.
Atlanta's got to open up their running game. If they don't, Miami's just going to be taking off on them on every passing situation. If they don't get the running game, they could be in trouble.
Now they go with the lone deep back, and Andrews as Kane splits to the right. First down at the Atlanta 34 off the short set. Bartkowski able to complete. He's got Alfred Jenkins. Gerald Small, the right cornerback, 3-year man out of San Jose State, makes the stop, and it's a first down for Atlanta. Dave, I'm told that Cincinnati quarterback Ken Anderson has been carried off the field, injured once again. It's a knee, and Pittsburgh still in front by the score 14-10. Jack Thompson, the throw, and Simone came on in relief last week against Miami. First down at the 45. That's the tight end, number 80, Junior Miller. Off the play action, Bartkowski looking for Miller. He's got it, but he's out of bounds. Let's see.
Oh, he's got it inbounds.
He got it inbounds and then stepped out. Glenn Blackwood attempting to cover on the play. You saw the motion by Miller, and then he went deep left side. A beautiful pass combination.
What a play when a tight end at the 6'4", 235 pounds can get downfield 30 yards and run with a defensive cornerback. Junior Miller's really showing an awful lot here today, showing why he was the #1 draft choice out of University of Nebraska.
So Junior Miller with a 25-yard pass play. And it's a first down at the 20. And Bartkowski has caught fire. Bartkowski again goes for the end zone. Intended for Alfred Jackson.
I think one thing that's really helped Bartkowski also is that he's getting great protection. His offensive line, even though they're very, very young, is giving him an awful lot of time to sit back up there and pick out not only his primary receivers, but his secondary receivers also. So he's getting good protection. If they get that running game going, they're going to have a whale of a day.
2nd and 10 from just inside the 20 for Atlanta. 2 minutes and 18 seconds left first half, and the Falcons lead it by the score of 7-3. Bartkowski connecting with Jackson early second quarter for the touchdown, set up by a 48-yard pass play with Bartkowski connecting with Jenkins. Early field goal by Van Schamen, and that's been it for Miami. Bartkowski for the end zone. Touchdown! Wallace Francis wide open. But a penalty marker thrown down.
Yes, we do have a flag in the backfield. Atlanta's offensive backfield. It's a bad position to be.
So the touchdown will be wiped out.
You see the Miami Dolphins, some of them are bent over. It's an awful hot day here today in Atlanta Stadium.
Bartkowski
Holding
with Wallace Francis,
on the
who was
offense.
wide open, but it will not count. A holding penalty call on the left guard, Dave Scott, 5-year veteran out of Kansas. So the ball is back at the 30-yard line, and it'll be a 2nd and 20, just inside the 30. Again, only one deep back being employed by Coach Lehman Bennett, that is William Andrews. And Bartkowski going deep. It is broken up. Junior Miller, the intended receiver. Don McNeil, the rookie out of Alabama, #1 draft pick of the Dolphins, able to slap it away.
Well, you can see that they're coming right back on Don McNeil again. They've come here 3 times in a row on him. Maybe they saw something in the films that they thought that they could utilize. That's one thing Don Shula will always do. You can see Junior Miller here. There was excellent coverage on that play. Don McNeil knocked it away.
Don McNeil beat out veteran Norris Thomas, who in turn was traded to Tampa Bay. McNeil is noted as a rousing hitter. That time he's able to break it up. It is a 3rd and 20.
It's a big down. They've got to get in field goal range at the worst.
And Bartkowski is hit down. They whistle it immediately off the big rush. A.J. Dewey, Doug Fetters, and on the quarterback.
The Did you notice the quick whistle on Steve Bartkowski once the quarterback was in his hands? But it's an interesting thing that we talked about Bill Arnsparger being a great defensive coach. He brings A.J. Dewey in a linebacker, and they don't know whether he's rushing from a defensive end spot or a linebacker spot. That time he got in there, as all the Miami Dolphins did.
And we have the 2-minute warning with Atlanta leading Miami 7-3. County Stadium, this is Marv Albert along with Dave Rowe. We have 2 minutes remaining in the first half. And the Atlanta Falcons lead the Miami Dolphins by the score of 7-3. 28-yard field goal by Ubervan Shaman in the first quarter. And early second quarter, Bartkowski hooking up with Alfred Jackson. 80-yard drive over 8 plays. And it's a 7-3 lead as Atlanta's John James gets set to punt from the Atlanta 45-yard line. Atlanta, incidentally, now hits for 5 penalties for 48 yards, one costly one that cost them a touchdown. The Falcons able to keep it out. Tremendous play by Roland Lawrence. And so the Dolphins will take over deep in their territory. We'll be back in a moment. The announcement was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. Miami Dolphins take over at their 3-yard line, and Bob Greasy has come on, replacing Don Strunk. So with just under 2 minutes left in this first half, Don Shula goes to Greasy. And Steve Howell gets across the 5-yard line.
In this situation, you wouldn't want a better quarterback than Bob Greasy. He's been in it many, many times before, and I'm sure he has an awful lot to add to the offense coming out of this defense.
Here's what put the Dolphins in the hole. The punt by George Roberts, batted out, placing it on the 3. Ray Strong and Chuck Carril combining to flick it out of the end zone, which of course would have meant starting at the 20-yard line. Instead, off that good play, Miami is pinned in, and right now they are in a 2nd and 8 at their 5 with Greasy coming on in relief of Strunk. Update on the scores. The San Francisco 49ers now lead the New York Jets 24-3. Pittsburgh over Cincinnati at halftime 14-13. 42-yard field goal by Sutter, bringing the Bengals within 1. Detroit over St. Louis 10-7, and they are in the second quarter. Cleveland over Kansas City 7-6 at halftime. And Houston in front of Baltimore 7-0 in the first quarter. 1:42 left in what has been a long first half, a host of penalties. And both Bartkowski and Strunk throwing the football frequently here in this first half. It is a 2nd and 8 for Bob Greasy. That's not more in motion. Second back coming through. Melvin Williams stacked up. Robert Pennywell leading the charge for the Atlanta Falcons.
Atlanta will probably utilize another timeout in this situation to keep the clock, give them enough time to move from probably midfield if they hold them on 3rd down. No, they're not. They're going to go with the play. They're down to almost a minute.
And it will be a 3rd and 4 at about the 9 as we approach the 1-minute mark. Bob Greasy, who is 54% for the season, but last week was lifted after going 3 for 8 for 36 yards with Don Strunk coming on in the game against Cincinnati. Delvin Williams hit back behind the line of scrimmage. Al Richardson, the rookie out of Georgia Tech, getting to Williams. Richardson, number 56, an 8th-round draft pick out of Miami, Florida. Attended Central High School in Miami, so putting on a little show for the folks watching back in his home city. As a freshman at Georgia Tech, Al Richardson went down with ligament and cartilage damage. It was thought back at his freshman year in college that that was it. talk about football. They were concerned as to whether he would be able to walk again, and here the guy is able to make it back, and he has been an outstanding rookie for the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, as you know, Marv, there's some quality in professional football players that distinguish them from all others, and it's a great big heart, and I'm sure that that's what he did. Came back from a severe injury like that, as you said, never expecting to walk, and comes on and plays in the National Football League.
The timeout situation, Atlanta with 1 remaining. Dolphins have 3. This time was called with 50 seconds remaining in the first half. As you look at Al Richardson.
Here's a decision Lehman Bennett has to make as to whether to try to block the kick, because it's going to be set short. With the punter standing on the goal line, he's only going to be 12 yards deep, or to get a good return.
George Roberts will try to get the Dolphins out of trouble. He is back as far as one can go. He has averaged 42 yards per punt.
Certainly knows he can't step back. Any high snap will hurt.
But he does get away a line drive and a beauty, sending Reggie Smith back, and he has some open field to work with. 45. And that is swarmed under.
Lehman Bennett made the decision to come after the ball. He rushed 10 men on that play, knowing that Miami was not going to risk going for a first down or a trick play.
Good punt by Roberts, 52 yards to get the Dolphins out of trouble. And Bob Kuchenberg leading the attack on Reggie Smith. Smith was able to dodge one man, and that was Jeff Allen, and then ran into a host of green shirts.
With 38 seconds left, Atlanta's just going to try to move into field goal position, see if they can get a good chance at a field goal. They've got 2 timeouts left.
Their first down at the Miami 42-yard line. The one deep back is Andrews. And Bartkowski with time going sideline and nearly intercepted. Tim Foley had a shot at it. The intended receiver, number 84, Alfred Jenkins. There's Foley a little bit upset with himself.
Yeah, old Tim Foley, one of the old guys back there. He's played a lot of great years. He's a real credit to football, both on and off the field. What really obstructs the vision is that Foley comes in here. You can see the receiver right behind Foley as he makes his leap for it. The receiver really should have concentrated an awful lot more on that ball. He would have been able to catch it. Should have probably come up with the catch. That's something that most receivers practice a lot. Obstruction in their vision as they're catching.
It is a 2nd and 10 at the 42. 33 seconds remaining. First half, Atlanta just looking to get within field goal range. Bartkowski incomplete. Wallace Francis, the intended receiver.
The other thing that Miami's doing is they're only rushing 3 linemen. Atlanta's keeping all their linemen back to block, and Bartkowski's getting great time to throw. Miami's trying to make up for it with their coverage. They're keeping 8 men deep covering. They're all dropping deep, letting no one get behind them for a cheap touchdown with only 26 seconds left.
Atlanta leading 7-3. And when Jim Van Note brings the Falcons up to the line, it will be a 3rd and 10 at the Miami 42-yard line. Andrews and Kane are the running backs. And Bartkowski gets it away, nearly intercepted by Glenn Blackwood, intended for Alfred Jenkins. So Blackwood, the brother of a one-time roommate of Dave Rose, stepping in front of Jenkins to break it up.
Exactly. Glenn is Lyle Blackwood of Baltimore Colts' younger brother. He's a great athlete, and he told me that he owes everything he has to Lyle Blackwood as far as his football. Yeah, I think Lyle negotiated his contract for him when he went with the Miami Dolphins. He was around the 7th or 8th round draft choice. And of course, Lyle really taught Glenn how to play the game of football.
And there was Glenn, number 47, breaking it up. John James will have to punt. 21 seconds remaining in this first half. James at the Atlanta 44-yard line and gets excellent hang time, and the fair catch called for. Tony Nathan with the fair catch, and Miami takes possession with only 13 seconds remaining in the first half, and Miami will take over at its 14-yard line.
I've often wondered what it would be like as a player to stand there and have have all those Atlanta Falcons running down on you and Tony Nathan having to receive that ball. He didn't want to let it drop. It had a lot of height. They were just trying to get it down there. It could be a real big play in the game.
All right, coming up at halftime, a complete wrap-up of the day in the National Football League. Bryant Gumbel and NFL 80. That San Francisco Jet score is the one that will be surprising people around the country. Everybody expecting the Jets to finally break out. That 49er offense is obviously for real. All right, Delvin Williams on the sweep. Out to the 22-yard line. Tripped up by Kenny Johnson, the right cornerback with the Dolphins, just running it out. And that does it for this first half from Atlanta Fulton County Stadium with the score at halftime. The Atlanta Falcons leading it 7-3. That's the end of the first half. Again, that score, Atlanta 7 and Miami 3. Was of the solid defense. Now Lehman Bennett looking to turn it all around to bolster what was the NFC's worst defense a year ago. And of course the first half statistics will certainly help the Atlanta cause to that end, with Miami able to put only 3 points up on the board. Here is Tim Mazzetti, and the opening kickoff puts us underway in the second half. Don Bessler will stay right there, and the Dolphins will be 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Bob Greasy will remain in at quarterback. The running backs are Delvin Williams and Steve Howell. There's Howell, number 36. Bruce Hardy, the tight end. The wide receivers, Nat Moore, Daryl Harris. The tackles, Cleveland Green, Eric Luxo. The guards, Ed Newman, Bob Kuchenberg. Mark Dennert is at center. Now Larry Little has come on at right tackle, replacing Eric Luxo. Dolphins first down at the 20-yard line. And this is Williams getting the call. Delvin Williams stopped by linebacker Robert Pennywell and Fulton Kuykendall. So Delvin Williams, who averages 3.5 per carry, but who could do very little in the first half, with a 2-yard pickup, 2nd and 8 as you look at the Atlanta defensive unit. Al Richardson, the rookie, has had an outstanding game. And the secondary of Lawrence, Reed, Frymore, and Johnson. 2nd and 8 for Greasy. Just underway, second half. And Greasy with his first attempt and completes to Daryl Harris out at the 40-yard line and a first down.
What a difference there on the quarterback. You saw Bob Greasy was under an awful lot of pressure from his left side. And he just got the pass off. He stayed in the pocket as long as he could. Got the pass off, made a completion for a long gain, and took the shot from the right defensive end.
It is a first down at the 40-yard line, an 18-yard pass combination between Daryl Harris and Bob Greasy. And for Harris, that is his first reception of the day.
Well, I think the Miami Dolphins, Shula has told him at halftime they've got to come out and establish the game.
Williams and Howell are the running backs. Nat Moore to the right. Off the play action, Delvin Williams could not race it down.
That was an excellent play action fake that time. Bob Greasy faked to his fullback coming in and swung Delvin Williams around the outside. He's one-on-one with a linebacker. Great speed, great moves. Just couldn't come up with a catch that time.
And the outside linebacker, Joel Williams, covering that man, number 24. 7-year veteran out of Kansas. Comes off an injury-hit year that slowed him down. But Delvin Williams, an excellent all-around back. Not just a burner, can do many things. Moore is left and Harris is right. 2nd and 10 for Miami at their 40-yard line. Greasy again. And again he's got Harris for a first down. Across midfield. Roland Lawrence popping him out of bounds.
Again, that's the timing of a quarterback and his wide receivers. Just as Daryl Harris made that cut, the ball was right there. There was very little chance for an interception. An excellent play. Greasy's trying to mix up his plays, using play action, trying to change the momentum of the game, because Atlanta has really controlled this game. Miami has only generated 90-some yards of offense in the first half, and that's far from the natural or normal Miami team.
So Greasy is 2 for 3 for 30 yards. Both receptions hauled in by Daryl Harris. First down for Miami at the Atlanta 48-yard line. Dolphins trailing 7-3. We're early third quarter. Looked to be a mix-up on the snap. And Howell did well to pick up yardage. Kuykendall and Richardson combining on the stop. It is a 3-yard advance, 2nd and 7 at the 45-yard line. Next week, Miami will be back home for New Orleans, while the Falcons will be playing at San Francisco. So they'll be taking on a 49er team that has been surprisingly explosive. Of course, they had the explosive offense last year, but they won only 2 games last year. And Greasy with lots of time. That is intercepted. Kenny Johnson, the rookie quarterback, picking off Bob Greasy. Intended for Daryl Harris, but Johnson comes up with his 2nd interception of the National Football League, and the Dolphin drive that appears to be on the move has been stopped.
Daryl Harris on that turf, as he made his cut, his out cut slipped and went down. This was a fortunate play.
And we'll be back in just a moment. Well, as you can see, it is a very hot and humid day here in Atlanta. 89 degrees right now, and the humidity at 70%. And we're told a couple of players, Junior Miller and Buddy Curry, have gone back to the locker room to be attended to because of the heat. Atlanta Falcons taking over following the interception as Bartkowski completes to Wallace Francis, spun around by Larry Gordon and Glenn Blackwood. Dave, what would you do on days like this? We're having a tough enough time here in the booth because of the heat. There's Curry reporting back to the bench.
Obviously, Buddy Curry had to take a little bit more saline solution. Usually when you know it's going to be a hot day, you work yourself up during the week taking more salt to retain more body fluids. But it's an awful hot day, and the players are really giving everything out.
All right, Dave, 2nd and 2 for Bartkowski at the Atlanta Miami 34-yard line. Pitch back for Kane. Cuts back in, and it's got the first down and more. Burns and Herter, number 83, making the stop on Lynn Kane. Right here, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
In Augusta, WATU TV, Channel 26.
Back in Atlanta, Marv Albert along with Dave Rowe making his NBC debut as a color commentator. Former defensive tackle, 13 years in the National Football League. Atlanta Falcons leading Miami 7-3. Bartkowski able to get it out to Alfred Jackson. Alfred Jackson made the turn and got inside the 20-yard line, but Tim Foley there to make the stop. An early field goal by Uwe van Schauman in the first quarter from 28 yards out. The only scoring on the day by the Dolphins. Bartkowski got off slowly, but has come on very, very strong. He's now 12 for 23 for 180 yards. He connected with Alfred Jenkins on a 48-yard pass play, leading to the touchdown. A short pop to Alfred Jackson, early second quarter. And by the Dolphins found out last week.
Many times when you have an injury, Marv, you know the team will rally around their new quarterback, and that seems what Cincinnati has done.
3rd and 12 for Atlanta at their 30-yard line. Bartkowski throws the middle. Bad pass thrown behind Andrews. And the Falcons forced to punt. Dave, we were talking about what it's like going up against a Shula coach club, and you made the point earlier today that somehow in a close ball game he finds a way to beat you, as the Bengals discovered last week under extraordinary circumstances. Miami scores 10 points in the final minutes to win with a squib onside kick after a safety, fumble recovery in the end zone, and a blocked punt. And he's in that type of ball game right here, as Miami will get the ball back off this punt. Fair catch called. Tony Nathan takes it, and Miami will go to work at its 36-yard line. A timeout is called. Atlanta leading Miami 17-10. We'll be right back. County Stadium, Atlanta, Georgia. 11 minutes, 3 seconds left, fourth quarter. And the Miami Dolphins take over, trailing 17-10, following the 34-yard punt. The lights have been turned on here at Atlanta. It has cooled off considerably, and Greasy on the play action is hit down. Greasy thought he had more time, but you saw number 58, Joe Williams, the outside linebacker on the right, come up with the sack. And Williams, a man who had 2 sacks against Minnesota opening day 2 weeks ago.
Right, he's coming from an outside position here. You see him hit the offensive tackle, gets inside pressure right there. Now Greasy doesn't even see him, and all of a sudden just feels him. Has no chance to step up in the pocket and get away from him. Joel Williams.
There he is in his second year out of Wisconsin La Crosse. Second down and 20. And Greasy gets it off, incomplete, intended for the tight end. Bruce Hardy, but a penalty marker thrown down.
Joel Williams almost got him again. He was right in there. That's one of the advantages that the 34 defense allows you to have. You can rush so many more different combinations of people. You never know what's coming on. You see Greasy here. He takes the snap. There's a twist in the middle with the lineman, and all of a sudden here comes Joel Williams in the picture. A great move right there.
Defensive
he almost
pass
gets
interference.
There's the pass interference. He denied him going across to his route.
And it was Fulton Kuykendall called for the interference penalty.
I don't think he'll dispute that.
No. 9 penalties assessed on Atlanta for 78 yards. And Miami with a break, first down across the 30-yard line. Delvin Williams on the sweep. Jeff Gates, Joel Williams again. There he is, number 58. A check of the NFL scoreboard. Pittsburgh leading Cincinnati 28-20 in the fourth quarter. San Francisco over the Jets 30-13 at Shea Stadium in New York. Detroit leads St. Louis in the fourth, 17-7. Cleveland over Kansas City 20-13. They are in the fourth quarter. Minnesota out front of Chicago 28-7 in the fourth. And it's now Houston over Baltimore at halftime, 14-9. It is a 2nd and 12 at the 29. And Greasy throwing deep sideline, and he completes. Beautiful leaping catch by Joey O'Harris, clobbered by Roland Lawrence.
Yeah, very true. You know, Williams took over for Greg Brazino, a great player in the Falcon history here. Played for many, many years, retired this past season. It certainly looked like they haven't lost anything from the great player Brazino to Joel Williams.
16-yard pickup.
Here's Greasy. Atlanta didn't rush that much there. He sees his man open on the outside. I'll tell you, that's great concentration there, because you know you're going to get hit. You're up in the air, you're out of control, and you know you're going to get hit.
And that is Harris's specialty. Beautiful acrobatic move. First down at the 46-yard line for Miami. Greasy for Moore, and Moore's going to throw it. For Hardy, but overthrows. But a beautiful idea right there. But Moore overthrew the tight end, Bruce Hardy.
That's a typical Don Shula play. Have to go back to it. Just great coaching. He thought he'd catch the Atlanta defense. They're inspired. They want to come up real fast, and they're all flowing to the play real quick. Here you can see Greasy comes back out. Little play action there, not much to hold him. All of a sudden looks out here. Atlanta reaches as a screen. All of a sudden, as he starts forward, he drops back and throws the ball. And you can see some of those guys, just Kenny Johnson, them getting deep in a hurry, because he was certainly beaten.
a second down at the 46-yard line. So Don Shula going into his bag of tricks with the Dolphins trailing 17-10. Now Greasy in more conventional style able to complete it. Nick Giaquinto stopped by Joe Williams. And it's a Miami first down, and the Dolphins are looking sharp right here.
Here you can see a great shot right here. You see the protection that Bob Greasy has. You can see Larry Little driving his man to the inside. The old guard, 14 years from Bethune-Cookman. One of the great players ever to play guard for not only the Miami Dolphins, but also in the National Football League. Several times All-Pro. Just a real credit to football.
First down at the 42-yard line. Nick Giaquinto, a first-year man out of the University of Connecticut. Last year was cut by Ottawa in the Canadian Football League. Greasy now 7 for 11, 78 yards. Delvin Williams trying to weave his way. Fumble on the play, recovered by Atlanta. The Atlanta Falcons seem to think, no, apparently the whistle had blown.
They have called him already down before he fumbled.
The Falcons did recover, but the whistle blew it dead.
We'll see Delvin Williams coming on a crossbuck here. Comes through the hole. A nice hole opened up for him. Good position right there. He starts to go out to the outside, and he's down. Yes, he was down before he fumbled.
So it's a 2nd and 5 for Miami on the Atlanta 37-yard line. A 5-yard advance by Williams. 7.5 left, fourth quarter. Crowd reacting to that call.
You get the feeling right away that the momentum has changed in the game since that long run back.
No question. Here's the fullback, Howell, with no running room. Good second effort. Hit down at the 40, so he lost on the play. Steve Howell tried to cut back, but could not. Jack Thompson has hit Don Bass. 2-yard touchdown pass play. 6.5 left. Fourth quarter, and the Bengals hang in. Pittsburgh by 1, 28-27. New Orleans leading Buffalo 19-14. Benny Ricardo hitting from 47 yards out after hitting from 45. Consecutive field goals by Ricardo to give the Saints the lead. Ball spotted at the 39. 3rd and 7. Jimmy Cephalo has come in, joining with Nat Moore and Duriel Harris. 3 wide receivers for Greasy. Gets it off, and he completes. This is Giaquinto. Nick Giaquinto down inside the 15-yard line. First down and much more. And Greasy is hot right now.
This is a real true test of the old pro Bob Greasy here. He takes a snap, he sits back up. He knows he's got to have time to get it out there. You can see him. He never wavers, and right after he unleashed the ball, he took a whale of a shot. Really, the old pro of 14 seasons, a great tested veteran.
And it's a 25-yard pass play. Giaquinto, the young man who made the fumble recovery for a touchdown last week against Cincinnati. A key catch right here, first down at the 14-yard line. Steve Howell going outside. He slept. Since he put himself down, he tried to get back up, but the Falcons there to cover up.
Well, the Falcons thought that they aided in him falling down, and that's what the referee ruled also.
Joey McClain making the stop from his outside linebacker spot. So it's back at the line of scrimmage, 2nd and 10 at the 14-yard line. Marv Albert, Dave Rowe from Atlanta, Georgia. 5:45 left, fourth quarter. Dolphins on the move, but trailing the Atlanta Falcons by the score of 17-10. Flags thrown down as Greasy fires intended for Moore. Penalty markers down. Moore was covered by linebacker Tony Dakin.
I believe we have all sides on the Atlanta Falcons this time. Greasy read that right away as he saw the fellow jump off sides and decided he'd go for it.
Look to be Jeff Merrill, the right defensive end.
In a situation like this, Marv, the one thing you don't want to do is jump off sides. It hurts you so badly because it's 5 yards down in close, and they'll be inside the 10-yard line now. And those are hard yards to capture.
Offside, number 75 on the defense. Second down.
It is Farrell, the 4-year pro out of West Virginia. So it'll be a 2nd and 6. Ball placed at the 10-yard line. The Miami Dolphins, who were propelled by that 85-yard kickoff return by Don Vesolo, leading to a touchdown. And once again with a great opportunity. Giaquinto, who's been a major factor, picking up yardage on the play. Nick Giaquinto, the first-year man out of the University of Connecticut, stopped by Frank Reeve. There he is, number 35.
I think Greasy in this situation is just trying to get the ball. Quick hitters down there, see if they can drive it and discourage the Atlanta Falcon defense. They're going to come in here for a measurement. Could be a big situation because it's either going to be first on the 5 or else it's going to be 3rd and 2 or 3 inches.
And you saw the indication of inches. 3rd and inches at the 5. Don Shula now goes with Delvin Williams and Nick Giaquinto in the backfield. Time running down. 5:15 left, 4th quarter. Atlanta leads Miami 17-10. Similar to a week ago, the Dolphins looking to come back in the final minutes. Now Steve Howell comes on. So Howell and Williams in the backfield. And this is Delvin Williams. And battles his way, the crowd roaring, but it appears that he picked it up. Tom Pridemore, a free safety, making the stop on Williams. Head coach Don Shula, who is 9-0 against the Atlanta Falcons lifetime. That includes 7 victories while with the Baltimore Colts.
You can see Shula wanted to huddle his team up in case they didn't make it so they can come up with a play and not have a delay in the game. A lot of eye searching on this one. See, stretch those links if you're an Atlanta fan and let the chain be a little slack if you're a Miami fan.
So it is a 1st and goal for Don Shula's Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins maintaining possession for a good portion of this 4th quarter, in contrast to the 3rd when the Atlanta Falcons were able to hang on. 1st and goal at the 4. Bob Greasy, who has come on for Don Strott, who started, as Matt Moore out to the right side. And Greasy throws. Ronnie Lee, the tight end, which crossed up the Atlanta Falcons. They went double tight end, and Ron Lee, who did see quite a bit of action last week against Cincinnati, a 2nd-year man out of Baylor, bringing the Dolphins within 1.
He delayed coming off the line, just came straight out, right off the line, and just was wide open. You can see him in the corner of your picture, just coming straight off right there. They ran a diagonal there, almost picked. It was almost a pick play, illegal play, but they didn't pick the defensive safety and just let him get out there for wide open. You can see a much different bench over there on the Miami side now as all the Dolphin players are up.
And here is Uwe Van Schamen. And he puts it through, so we are tied as the Dolphins have come back from a 17-3 deficit. And with 4:24 left, 4th quarter, they are tied at 17. Sports, Major League Baseball. You'll see either the Expos and the Phillies, the Reds and the Astros starting at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. This is Reggie Smith on the kickoff return. The crowd urging the Falcons on with 4:14 remaining in the 4th quarter. And a tie game at 17-all. Ed Taylor, backup quarterback, making the stop on Smith. Those pennant races in both the National League East and West going right down to the wire. And NBC will provide coverage next Saturday. Check your local listing for the game and time in your area. Either Expos and the Phils, or the Reds and the Astros. 1st and 10 at the 26-yard line of Atlanta for Steve Bartkowski. He has Lynn Kane and William Andrews at running back, working out of the eye. Off the play action, lots of time. And it is dropped. Wallace Francis should have had it.
Certainly should have. Certainly should have. That's the first time he's gone to Wallace Francis all day. Caught him on a crossing pattern. He was wide open. Just dropped the ball. Bartkowski got a lot of time on this ball. Also, a lot of time in the pile.
So it sets it back to 2nd and 10 at the 26-yard line, and the Bengals are just unbelievable. They continue to provide problems for the Steelers. 21-yard field goal by Ian Sumter, and Cincinnati leading 30-28. On a dump off pass by Bartkowski to Lynn Kane. Beautiful run by Kane out near the first down marker. A.J. Dewey, number 77, able to trip him up.
I think Bartkowski really held in the pocket a long time here. You can see that he pressured from Denherter right down him, and he drops it off out there to Kane. But Kane made a great move here, right here. It was tough getting away from this play right here where 47 comes up. He really should never have made what he did. A.J. Dewey misses also. He makes a lot of people miss, and you can see him looking at that yard mark. It's almost like he knows where he has to go to.
He had help from the left guard, Dave Scott. Center, Jeff Van Note. Beautiful move by Lynn Kane, the running back out of Southern California, a 4th-round draft pick last year. Picks up the first down at the 36-yard line. The Atlanta Falcons just looking to work the clock to move into field goal range with 3:45 left in the 4th quarter. Miami coming from a 17-3 deficit. They've tied it at 17. Bartkowski with time again. Fires downfield, and it is complete. Wallace Francis this time comes up with it. A big catch. Rusty Chambers able to push him out of bounds.
One thing Junior Miller did that time is run the defensive back really deep. Wallace Francis on a crossing pattern is wide open. And he certainly didn't drop that one. No one felt worse than Wallace Francis when he walked back in that huddle last time after dropping that ball. You can see him trying to get some more right here, and he comes in and gets help right here. Rusty Chambers and Glenn Black was there also.
It's a 28-yard pass play. And sets a 1st and 10 at the Miami 36-yard line. Now the handoff to Kane. And Lynn Kane runs it to the 32. Bob Baumhauer, nose tackle. Rusty Chambers, inside linebacker. Combined on number 21, Lynn Kane, who had a big day in the opener against the Vikings in Minnesota, picking up 123 yards. That time picked up 4. And it'll be a 2nd and 6. So impressive statistics for Steve Bartkowski, looking for yet another 300-yard game.
They're awful close to Mazzetti's range right now also, so that Miami has got to hold them if they want to win this ball game.
2:20 remaining, 4th quarter. 2nd and 6 for Bartkowski. And incomplete. Couldn't find Junior Miller, who took a bump upfield. Tim Foley, the strong safety, covering on the play. Foley has been shuffling in and out of the lineup, same as a week ago against Cincinnati because of severe leg cramps.
That's the first thing to go when you get old like me. No, he's a great player. Bartkowski has to call timeout here because obviously didn't get a play coming in.
And when we resume, it'll be a 3rd down and 6 with Atlanta in possession. NBC, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central and Mountain. The season premiere of Chips, as Potch ends up over his head to save a woman from a watery grave. And then 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central and Mountain. It's James Michener's Centennial right here on NBC. It is a 3rd and 6 for the Atlanta Falcons at the Miami 32. 2:16 left. Fourth quarter. We're tied at 17. And Bartkowski goes sideline, and it's broken up. Alfred Jackson, the intended receiver. Don McNeil with a very physical deflection.
That was a great play also by Don McNeil. He really came up. He came up led. Alfred Jenkins had made the break on him and looked like he was open, and McNeil really recovered in a hurry. He kept his cushion, and I think it's going to force Atlanta into a punting situation. If they had moved another 5 or 6 yards, 8, 10 yards, they might have had a chance for Mazzetti. No, they're going to bring Mazzetti in. I'm sorry, James holds for him. That was a confusing thing. I believe Mazzetti has kicked a 45-yard field goal in preseason, so this is going to test his range.
He is 5 for 5 on the season in a bounce-back year. He kicked from 37 yards out earlier today, his longest career field goal back in '79 against the Green Bay Packers for 48 yards. This will be a 50-yard attempt with 2 minutes, 12 seconds left fourth quarter, and we're tied at 17.
Mazzetti has punted, but it's
blocked. Mazzetti's field goal attempt from the 50 is blocked. So the Dolphins will take over with now 2 minutes and 3 seconds left in the fourth quarter. So the Miami Dolphins take over following the blocked field goal attempt by Tim Mazzetti, blocked by Bob Baumhauer, the Dolphin nose tackle, and now the Dolphins will try to set it up to get close for Van Sharman. 1st and 10 at the 46-yard line. And Greasy on the play action. And Moore, beautiful catch. And Moore racing down the sideline and pushed out of bounds.
We have a flag on the play also, Mark.
Yard pass play. And Moore racing the sideline, but let's see what the penalty flag is all about.
That could compound it because it could be a personal foul after he was out of bounds.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 37, first down.
That is exactly what it is, Dave. Kenny Johnson, the rookie cornerback, obviously upset with himself with Moore, able to unleash on him. And got in the extra lick.
The thing that made that play go is that Greasy had so much time. He had to play fake into the line, rolled a little bit to his right, had plenty of time to hit Nat Moore coming across. He wasn't rushed at all.
So the Miami Dolphins now in excellent position with 1 minute and 54 left in the fourth quarter. They have 1st and goal from the 10-yard line. Timeout on the field. This appears to be the 2-minute warning. We'll be back in a moment. Here in Atlanta, back at 1 o'clock, it was 89 degrees, hot and humid. Now it is raining. Here in Atlanta, it has cooled off considerably. The lights have been put on at the stadium, and the Dolphins are on the move, led by Bob Greasy, who has come back very strong after being benched. Don Strock started. Greasy has come on. He's 9 for 14, 140 yards. We're tied at 17, and Greasy has a 1st and goal from the 10-yard line. This is the fullback, Howell. They'll pick up on the play. Jeff Merrill on the stop along with Tony Dakin. And right here we pause briefly for station identification. This
in
is
Augusta,
the NBC
WATU TV, Channel 26. WATU TV 26, Augusta.
This is Marv Albert with Dave Rowe from Atlanta, Georgia. When we pick up following this timeout, the Dolphins' 2nd and goal from the 10-yard line. Miami coming back as they did a week ago against the Cincinnati Bengals. Miami trailing 17-3 in the third quarter. The Falcons appear to be on the move. The play that turned it, Dave, that 85-yard kickoff return by a Georgia Tech man, Don Bessalou.
Well, as the mood of the game has changed, so has the weather. We've gone from a hot day to a rain day, which is not going to aid Steve Bartkowski in coming back and bringing his team down the field, because the Atlanta Falcons have lived by the pass today.
Final score is in. Cincinnati Bengals upsetting the Pittsburgh Steelers 30-28. And we'll have all the highlights. Brian Gumbel will run it down on the NFL report following Miami and Atlanta. So the Bengals come back and they win it on the 21-yard field goal by Ian Sumter with 2:25 left in the game. Second and goal at the 10. Pitch back for Williams, led by Howell. Can't turn it. Good pursuit by the Falcons, led by the rookie Al Richardson and cornerback Roland Lawrence.
Atlanta in this situation realizes, Marv, that they're going to have to call timeouts because Greasy is keeping the ball on the ground and inbounds. And if they allow the clock to run down, they know that the Miami Dolphins, barring a miracle, are going to have a field goal shot. So they've got to call timeout to conserve the clock, to give Bartkowski, say, a minute and 10, 15 seconds so that he can run his field team downfield.
And that's the final timeout for the Falcons. Miami with 3 to play with.
You can see a real meeting of the minds over there. Don Shula probably got more victories than most coaches in the National Football League, and a great tested veteran, Bob Greasy.
Next Sunday here on NBC Sports, week number 4 will provide exciting doubleheader action, starting with NFL 80 and Bryant, and then most of you will see the Oakland Raiders go against the Buffalo Bills, and then at 4 o'clock, the Seahawks of Seattle take on the Washington Redskins, plus other regional games. That's all next Sunday here on NBC Sports, and we suggest you check your listings for the games in your area. So another big day next week. We've certainly had our share of surprises once again today. When we resume here, it'll be a 3rd and goal at the 7-yard line. 1 minute and 33 left in the 4th quarter. This is Delvin Williams. Picks up a couple on the play. Roland Lawrence, left side cornerback. And Buddy Curry, the inside linebacker, on the right. Making the stop. And now the field goal unit coming up with 1 minute 10 and counting. So Uwe von Schaman has come on. Atlanta, Georgia, Marv Albert, Dave Rowe, Miami and Atlanta tied at 17. 50 seconds remaining, 4th quarter. Bob Greasy was taken over for Don Scott, leading the Dolphins all the way downfield. Van Schaman trying a 23-yard field goal, looking to put the Dolphins ahead. Scott is holding. And we could have, let's see,
to delay a game penalty so that Von Schaman will get a little better angle. Also, the clock will run down. Atlanta was unable to run the clock past that.
So we now have 35 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. Earlier, Van Schaman connected with a 28-yard field goal to give Miami a 3-0 lead. Bartkowski hit Jackson on a 6-yard pass play after a long gainer of 48 yards with Jenkins. Atlanta took a 7-3 lead in the 2nd quarter. Bartkowski hit the rookie tight end Miller. As you hear the delay of game penalty called off by McGoey. On that Bartkowski to Miller TD, Falcons led 14-3, made it 17-3 on a 37-yard field goal by Mazzetti. And 2 touchdown passes thrown by Greasy, putting it right here at 17 all. And it is good. The Miami Dolphins have taken a 20-17 lead as Uwe von Schaman has connected. So the Dolphins again come from behind.
New York, I'm Brent Musburger with Irv Cross. Let's go to the scoreboard and get you up to date with everything that is happening now around the league today. Final score, 37-27. San Francisco runs its record to 3-0, even though Richard Todd was 42 of 59 for 447 yards, 42 completions in one game, NFL record. That breaks George Blanda's mark of 37. Meanwhile, Minnesota completely shut down Walter Payton. 39 yards and 16 carries. Ted Brown explodes for 113 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Minnesota wins again for the second time in 3 games. Detroit extends its mark to 3-0. Billy Sims, 25 carries, just shy.